Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about massive news of a huge link between Stellar and the World Economic Forum. So before we talk about the main story today, I'd like to show you a clip featuring the CEO of the Stellar Development Foundation, Daniel Dixon, going into detail and discussing how blockchain and crypto will be the core to financial services for years to come.
Doing great. So what can we in the blockchain and crypto space learn from someone who has been in this space or been in the financial services space for as long as you have, and we can maybe do a little differently?
Look, in the end, this will be regulated. It's frustrating. There's not clarity. It's always hard to, if you're playing a game and you don't know what the rules are, that can be difficult. But I think we have to, work constructively with the regulators, because it's coming, right? Because it's going to be the core to financial services.
So as detailed in the previous clip, financial developments will become increasingly more dependent on blockchain utility. So as well as Stellar's CEO stating to the potential benefits blockchain will bring to financial services around the world, a number of the biggest financial bodies around the world have actually also echoed the views of Dixon, including the Bank for International Settlement. So in a paper published by the financial body entitled Towards Monitoring Financial Innovation in Central Bank Statistics, the article and paper went into detail and provided insights into how financial developments, including the banking sector, needs to change, and how a number of innovations can be incorporated into financial developments to make finance more seamless and effective. Where within the paper there was a reference to Stellar, where the paper noted to how both Stellar and XRP could have a greater chance of extreme positive outcomes across a number of industries around the world, most notably the financial sector. So it's very exciting that such an esteemed organization, especially within the financial realm, have actually earmarked to the potential Stellar can bring. And it makes no surprise really, especially if you look at the innate qualities and benefits Stellar's network provides for a number of organizations around the world, where Stellar is in active partnership with the remittance and cross-border payment infrastructure MoneyGram, where the direct collaboration between the two organizations sees MoneyGram harnessing the Stellar network, a private variant of the Stellar network, to improve remittances and cross-border payments. And this is all encompassed with MoneyGram being a multi-billion-dollar company. So it's an indication of how effective Stellar's network is. So very exciting. And this isn't the only note to the benefits Stellar's network can provide, where another one of the biggest financial bodies in the world, in the World Bank, have actually earmarked and highlighted to the innate qualities and features of Stellar, where the article actually highlighted to how Stellar, as well as other projects in the marketplace, can provide stablecoin minting. And this is true, where Stellar is one of few projects which provides the USDC stablecoin, and Stellar is the most widely utilized for USDC stablecoin utility across all blockchain and DLTs on the marketplace. And this is in excess of the utility of USDC on the likes of Ethereum. And this all goes back to MoneyGram really. So the main reason I believe as to why USDC is more widely utilized on Stellar compared to other DLTs which have USDC present is due to Stellar's association and partnership with remittance organizations around the world, including the likes of MoneyGram. So extremely exciting, and it indicates how Stellar is arguably the most widely utilized network for cross-border payments and remittances around the world. And this only spells good news for the project. And as DLT becomes more mature and as more organizations enter the industry, more organizations may turn to the likes of Stellar to employ and roll out remittances whilst directly utilizing the Stellar network, be it a private or a public variant of the Stellar network. And the article by the World Bank actually went into further depth in regards to the innate qualities attached to the likes of the Stellar network and the XRP ledger, where both of these networks are able to facilitate the authorization of transactions at cost-effective rates and at high throughput levels. So very exciting, and it indicates how effective the Stellar network is. So as well as the Bank for International Settlement and the World Bank detailing to the attractive features associated with a Stellar network, another one of the biggest financial bodies in the World Economic Forum have actually highlighted and detailed to how cryptocurrency could become a major player in financial developments around the world. When a paper published by the World Economic Forum entitled Cryptocurrencies, A Guide to Getting Started, Global Future Council on Cryptocurrencies. So within the paper, there was a reference to a number of crypto projects on the marketplace that have a direct association with the World Economic Forum, and within the paper detailed to the innate qualities and the features which make the specific networks very attractive, and why developers and or institutions may leverage the mentioned networks for their own use cases. So within the paper, the Stellar network was mentioned, and again it referenced to the speed, the finality rates, and the high TPS attached to the network. So this adds to arguably the three biggest financial bodies in the world, referencing to the benefit Stellar's network provides. And I think Stellar is one of few projects which have had widespread acceptance and have been earmarked by some of the biggest bodies around the world. So very exciting for Stellar as a whole, and it indicates how Stellar could become a key figure within financial development for years to come. So as well as Stellar's direct involvement and being referenced by the three mentioned financial bodies, another development which may be attached to Stellar includes Project Hamilton, where Project Hamilton was a CBDC initiative carried out and authorized by the Boston branch of the Federal Reserve. So during this project, a prototype CBDC was created and issued, and once the prototype CBDC was created, the Boston branch of the Federal Reserve conducted research to determine whether a CBDC would be a viable option for financial initiatives and developments across the wider US economy. So within the paper, it was referenced to a number of initiatives, including how financial institutional funding, cryptocurrency, stablecoins and CBDCs will become imperatively more utilized across the monetary system, and how such financial vehicles will become increasingly more depended on, and how the utility of such mechanisms can improve the authorization and the seamlessness surrounding financial activities and financial services for years to come. So as mentioned, CBDCs will become increasingly more important, especially when central banks eventually roll out such protocols. So there was reference to how CBDC developments are taking place around the world, where there was a reference to both Ukraine and Brazil, where specifically Ukraine, the Stellar Development Foundation are working in conjunction with some of the biggest banks within Ukraine, including the Central Bank of Ukraine, to design a synthetic CBDC for the wider Ukrainian marketplace. So there isn't a definitive date when a Ukrainian CBDC will be rolled out, but with Stellar being at the centre of such protocols, this puts Stellar ahead of the vast majority of other DLTs on the marketplace in regards to CBDC protocols, where there's not too many other DLT organisations which are in direct collaboration with such esteemed organisations and institutions. So this is another reason as to why Stellar could see wide-scale utility and become a very exciting project over the long run. So as well as the reference to Ukraine, the paper also referenced to Brazil, where the Brazilian central bank are also working on CBDC developments within their given nation, where I know the report here mentions to Ripple, but there's been a change to this development where the Brazilian central bank are actually working in conjunction with the Stellar network to help design and incorporate CBDCs for the wider Brazilian marketplace. And Stellar is also working with financial institutions and private banks within Brazil during this period as well. So with both Ukraine and Brazil working in conjunction with the Stellar Development Foundation for CBDC initiatives, this adds to a growing repertoire of use cases surrounding Stellar, where Stellar isn't limited to remittances and cross-border payment infrastructure anymore. And so the versatility of the Stellar network is increasing to some degree, and this will be increasingly more bullish for the Stellar network as a whole. So it's quite unlikely that the private Stellar network will be incorporated into CBDC protocols in both Brazil and Ukraine if the Stellar-induced CBDC protocol is successful. However, the mere reality of a potential private variant of the Stellar network being utilized into a nationwide CBDC infrastructure would be extremely bullish for the project, and can lead to more developers or even institutions vying to utilize the Stellar network, the public Stellar network, for the long run and for their own given initiatives. So very exciting for Stellar, and Stellar is looking likely to become widely incorporated into financial developments in the future. So the Project Hamilton paper also referenced to the potential use cases surrounding CBDCs, where it referenced to improvements in cross-border payments, improvements in business-to-business transactions and person-to-person transactions, and also improving financial inclusivity. So with all of these innate qualities, these all point to the benefits Stellar's network provides, where at the moment Stellar is mainly used for remittance pathways. So the network and the Stellar Development Foundation have worked within this realm for a number of years now and have brought about a number of benefits to global remittances and cross-border payments. What are your thoughts on Stellar? Do you think Stellar will be at the centre of financial developments for years to come? Let us know your views in the comments below.